Used truck prices have been through the roof lately, if you can find one at all. I talked with Chris Visser, Senior Analyst and Product Manager in the Commercial Vehicle Division of J.D. Power. Chris, what's the deal with used truck prices? Why is everything so expensive, and why are used trucks so hard to find?
Yeah, well, if it feels like everything in the used truck market is nuts, you're completely correct. In the auction, the wholesale, and the retail channels, pricing is the highest it's been since at least the Great Recession, and probably quite a bit back before then as well. We could get into the factors of why that is. I think that's been covered pretty well, but we've got a lot of tailwinds supporting used truck pricing, most notably the shortage of new trucks, which is driven, of course, by the rolling parts shortages, chip shortages, rolled steel shortages, things of that nature. So that's making a lot of fleets look to the used market for late model, low mileage used trucks. And at the same time, we're in a cyclical low point for trade-ins because just the nature of the 4-year trade cycle. We hadn't been in a point of that cycle where we would have expected a good amount of trade-ins. So there just aren't enough trucks to go around to meet demand. And of course, the other side of that is the freight side, which is super hot thanks to all the changes that COVID caused. With the stockpiling, the shortages of goods, shift to consumer spending from services, and that freight market has stayed super hot since ever since last April or so.
There's a lot to unpack there. Talk to me about the chip shortage.
Of course, everything gets back to COVID. On the factory floors, where we first had production shutdowns because of people getting COVID and not enough staff to build trucks here in the States. And then we had parts shortages that are still ongoing from overseas suppliers for the same reason. Then, of course, there's the shipping bottlenecks of getting those products, those either raw materials or partially finished products from overseas to the factories here in the States to install into the trucks on the assembly line. Those shipping bottlenecks are still ongoing, as everybody watching this is all too aware, which has one silver lining, which is that it pretty much guarantees that there will be more freight to move going forward. So that extends this whole strong freight market ahead more than it might have otherwise been.
So if you've already got a truck, you're in a good position. If you're looking to buy a truck, probably better to wait. Chris, how much have used truck prices gone up and over what time frame?
Yeah, and this is where it gets completely insane. It's the most drastic increase in the shortest amount of time that I've seen in over 20 years watching the market. In the auction market, year over year, if we look at the first 5 months of this year compared to the first 5 months of last year, pricing is 80% higher this year than it was last year. That's 80.
How long is this likely to continue, and what should our viewers look for as an indicator that prices are going to be coming down?
First, it's important to watch the companies that forecast freight rates and volumes. Right now, they're pointing to a strong market into 2022, and volumes not going back to negative year over year until 2023. So we've pretty much got smooth sailing as far as freight market goes. On the other side is the used truck supply. With the shortages, the OEMs are saying we're not going to see any, notable improvement in availability of new trucks until next year. So that just gets back into whether the fleets decide that they have all the late model, low mileage used trucks that they need for the time being. So right now, fleets are having a pretty good business selling trucks directly off their website at retail prices. But if we start to notice a lot more of these trucks coming into the auctions and cycling through that way at lower pricing, if we see 2 or 3 auctions where that happens, then we can be pretty confident that the market has shifted. And unfortunately, the used truck market usually shifts drastically. It's not a gradual shift. So once things turn, they turn pretty quickly and pretty dramatically. So that's when we know the cycle is into the bust territory.
Chris, thanks for talking with us today. I know our viewers appreciate it. For the Truck Boss Show, I'm Brad Kuhn. I'll see you down the road.